Season 48, war number 6, and we are up against ISO8a, and this time my team will be Dust, Sunspot and White Tiger. I will be taking path 8 in section 1, path 8 in section 2, and then I will also be taking a Nick Fury, Gorr, Adam Warlock and Killmonger miniboss, as well as the Bullseye boss once again using Dust, this time with a better game plan than the first time. Now, I will only be using Sunspot for a single fight, being the Killmonger miniboss, and this was before the tactic got nerfed a second time, so gonna be interesting to see how that goes, to say the least. Now to start off this war we have a Shuri here on the Snowballing Fury and No-Hit Mercy nodes, and I will be taking the fight with White Tiger. Now Shuri is basically just a diversity placement. You could even take this fight with a Corvus for a free charge, but we didn't need to do that, so I am taking it with White Tiger. Now the only real threat here is her dupe ability, allowing her to block unblockable special attacks, and that just means that I need to keep an eye on, well, whether or not she blocks following my special. If she blocks, I couldn't throw my second special too immediately afterwards, but she didn't, so I was free to do so, and I just nuked her down with 2 of those and a few hits to close it out. Very simple fight. Nothing special really to mention there. Then we have a Chee'ilth on the Snowballing Fury, and whatever else this node had on, I missed it and I can't be bothered to go back and check. And I will be taking the fight with Dust. Now, Chee'ilth is not a tactic defender, so all she really does is inflict bleeds through your block and cleanse stuff. That's about it. And Dust just so happens to be bleed immune, so that's not a problem. And the cleanses, well, cleansing Dust's sand debuffs just ramps her up faster, so overall this matchup extremely simple and Dust just completely shuts it down. Now I went ahead and threw my heavy attack into the air during Chee'ilth's special 1 there to trigger the sandstorm early, and now just a special 2 and special 1, the fight is over in less than 50 seconds, still basically at full health. Chee'ilth really isn't a difficult defender to deal with in general. All you need to make it safe is a bleed immune. Nothing else is really needed. The cleanses can be annoying with some champions, but at the end of the day, it's just cleansing debuffs and that's it. Be bleed immune and you'll be fine. Then next up here we have a Hulkling on the inevitable power efficiency and overwhelming odds nodes, that I will be taking the fight with White Tiger. A very simple matchup. White Tiger is basically built to fight Hulkling, although on this node it's not gonna go down as quickly and as flashy as he would on some other nodes, simply due to the fact that the inevitable power efficiency node will make him immune to nullify. That means that the expiring bleed will not be able to nullify his regen buffs, feeding me Mystic Dispersion power gain, but as you can see that's not really needed anyways. The Mystic power back boosts are more than enough to keep me on the special 2 spam throughout the whole fight. Now I didn't really bother baiting any specials, I used an invulnerability boost just in case I pushed him to special 3, and it was more so needed for this fight, since I don't really have a way to completely shut down the Rich Get Richer node. And more on that, this matchup is a Silver Surfer on the Rich Get Richer and inevitable power efficiency, along with Force of Will, and I am taking the fight with White Tiger. Now while White Tiger does have some power control and it is possible to play fights with her without allowing the defender to use any specials at all, I'm honestly not too comfortable using that rotation, so I don't do that. And also I don't have a way to shut down the Rich Get Richer power node, since the only unique buff White Tiger can keep up the whole fight is a Fury buff, and I do not have the Odin's pre-fights. Now luckily though, this fight didn't have any bigger problems. I did make a mistake by throwing a special into his block, which he could have punished me consumed my invulnerability boost and then fired off his special 3 to nuke me down. But I don't think I would have dropped dead from a single special 3 from a surfer anyway, so it would have cost a potion or 2, but it would not have killed me. Either way, luckily I didn't get punished and I didn't have to spend any potions. Then next up we have a Nick Fury on the Power Snack and 1 too many hits miniboss node, and I am taking the fight with White Tiger as well, mainly due to the fact that she is immune to Nullify, so the Power Snack node does not exist. All that is left is the defense tactic, as well as the 1 too many hits Power Stings. However, the Power Stings themselves, I don't really try to keep too close of an eye on them. If I can, I will wait them out, but simply using a specialty while one is up is not really a problem, since I do get the health steal from it as well. Now, one thing that I am keeping an eye on here is the special ones on Nick Fury. I did make the mistake earlier in the season of accidentally trying to dex the special one like I usually do, forgetting about the defense tactic Indestructibles, and that didn't end too well and it caused a lot of issues. So this time, keeping a closer eye on that and just eating the block damage. Now one thing that I tried to do here against Nick that is possible, but not that easy to pull off, is to time off your special 2 with his second life, so that you get the bleed debuff on as he just enters it. If you get the bleed debuff on as he enters the second life, you will block all the healing and he will just die to the bleed, effectively skipping the second life. I have only managed to do that properly in BGs a few times, not in War, and overall it's probably not even worth trying in War, since Nick Fury does get that brief invulnerability while he enters the second life, allowing some hits to just completely whiff even if they would normally land. And if that happens, he can punish you. Now next up here we have a Gorr on the When I Open and Make a Stand miniboss nodes. And I am taking the fight with White Tiger as usual. Game plan is the same as usual. Just do some parrying to get the prowesses up, climb up to a special 2 or close to it, go for a parry heavy to knock him down, so that I remove the Make a Stand node, allowing me to get the full damage on my special 2, which then also means I get all the possible power gain from the Mystic Powerback boosts. Now here, I just ignore the When I Open node, go for the special 2 here and let the bleeds steal his healing for myself, so I can stay topped up, for the most part at least, and that's about all you really need to do in this fight. Now I am trying my best to bait a special here without dexing too much to consume my prowesses, but this Gorr isn't having it. He's just dashing at me, landing a medium, getting parried over and over, and yet he's still doing the same exact thing. I'm getting so close to my corner here that I gave up on trying to just parry him. I go for the dexes, consume my prowesses, and just at this point I'm done with it. I'll deal with the special 3 if I have to, and I'll just use my specials. Clearly he doesn't want to play ball, so I'll just have to go for it. If the fight drags on any longer, well, the longer the fight goes on, the more mistakes it's possible for me to make, so yeah, I'll just go for it and hope for the best. Luckily he didn't get a chance to really punish me in any way, though I did leave a few openings for him to do so. So overall, I did get lucky, I didn't get punished, but at the same time I got extremely unlucky with the special baiting, and he just didn't wanna play the game at all. Then next up here we have an Adam Warlock on the power efficiency, and missing in action miniboss node, is that it? That's the one, alright. And I am taking the fight with White Tiger. Now one thing that is almost needed here is the White Magneto pre-fight, so you can land your parries always, even while the Sovereign buff is active, which lowers your parry stun debuff ability accuracy. Having the White Magneto pre-fight active makes your parry stun debuffs passive if you're using a hero or a metal champion, so that completely bypasses the Sovereign buff's very annoying ability. That means that I can get my prowesses up at any point without really having to worry about anything. Now one thing I also decided to do here was just use an invulnerability boost and push him to a special 3. If he uses it, I'll just tank it. If he doesn't, well, I'll just nuke him down before he can really do anything else. The reason for that is that the falter node here can get out of hand very quickly, and if he starts going unblockable and all of that, the falter as well as the defense tactic, you're gonna have a rough time if you start stacking up those indestructibles. So it is better to just get in and get out as fast as possible, eat the special 3 if you need to, and just rush through it. And that's about all there is to say about that one. Went pretty well, he did get to use the special 3, but overall I still finished the fight at full health, so can't complain. Now next up we have this Killmonger on the Polka Dot power node with Brute Force and Stunning Reflection, and I will be taking the fight with Sunspot. And real quick, before I start the fight, I'm gonna stop it right here to just explain, or rather give some context, I guess. So, this fight was taken before the most recent nerf to the tactic, which meant that the indestructibles on Killmonger Special 2 were consuming the tactic prowesses. So my game plan was to just bait the Special 2, he would trigger the indestructible, they would get eaten by the prowesses, then I would just parry the Special 2 hits to re-ramp my prowesses, which basically meant that my uptime on them would be, well, the whole fight. However, it turns out that the indestructibles were not being consumed on the activation of the indestructibles, they were consumed when you hit him while he had them on, which goes against the wording of the tactic for sure, and I didn't know that was the interaction, so that's gonna come bite me in the butt very soon. So to start off this fight, I knew it would be a difficult one, but as long as I could execute my game plan properly, it should be fine. So I went ahead, parried that special 1, and now push him to a special 2 and bait it. And immediately I noticed the indestructibles are still there, and at this point I realize, okay, I'm gonna die, there's no question about it. So essentially, as I said, the indestructibles get consumed when you hit Killmonger, which would then trigger the indestructibles anyways and consume them that way. And that means that you cannot use the tactic prowesses to deal with them, you will just be forced to consume your prowesses, and then the tactic indestructible itself would become a huge problem since you really can't keep them up. So basically, I'm screwed and there's no way around it. Another fantastic interaction here is the fact that Killmonger's reverberation damage still works while he's indestructible from the tactic, so he's not taking any damage, but he's reflecting the damage that he would take, which is also not what is supposed to happen. So overall, just not knowing the exact interaction of the tactic and Killmonger, and also Killmonger just being broken with the tactic indestructibles, resulted in me just getting completely destroyed without really doing any damage at all. And the worst part here is that we actually had another perfectly viable option that we used in a previous war in a different BG, but yeah, for whatever reason we didn't assign it in BG3 for this war, and yeah, I was basically sent to my death, and well, that is death number 2, I can't really say much about it, although it was very unfortunate, and yeah, we just had the other player who had the champion available just come clean it up and their fight went perfect. So overall, a completely wasted death, which is just frustrating to say the least. But at the very least, going forward, the tactic will be the easier version, so that's what we're gonna be playing with on the upcoming war videos. Then next up we have the final fight of the war, a Bullseye boss that I will be taking with Dust, and this time I have the Recoil Masteries, the Horseman pre-fight and White Magneto pre-fight, meaning I have basically every single damage boost possible, and now all that is left is to just execute the fight properly. The game plan is to get the special 3 with as much sand on the opponent as possible, throw the special 3 to trigger the sandstorm and convert the sand into prowesses, and then spam special 2s with the mutant power back boosts until the fight is done. That is about all there really is to it. The defense tactic isn't really a problem since, well, I plan on parrying every single hit that Bullseye throws my way, or at least trying to do that. And then all that Bullseye really has left in his defensive kit is that evade, but as long as I can keep my eye on his power meter, I should be able to manage that just fine. Now at this point I could have thrown the special 3 already, but I decided against it. I wanted some more sand on him, so my specials would hit that much harder. So I am just sitting here trying to get those sand debuffs on, and then also just baiting this special off first. Now, at this point I definitely could have and probably should have just thrown the special 3 and gotten the damage rotation started, because the more of those resistance buffs I get on Bullseye, the tankier he gets and the more damage he will deal as well. So for this boss you really wanna get in and get out as fast as possible. Here I went for it with the striker stun still active. I go for the special 3, which deals a nice amount of damage, I'm not gonna lie. I was kinda surprised by it actually, since usually dust hits pretty soft. But I guess the, well, damage boosts I have active are really doing something. Now, since I did push him to a special 2 there, I had to block a few hits of it as to not consume my tactic prowesses, and then having to dex the last hit or getting stunned, well, I lost some damage and my second special 2 didn't crit a single time. The fight would have been over already if it had, but that's not really a problem. I am taking some more chip damage here, but yeah, at this point there's nothing Bullseye can do, and I do get the solo here, still standing at above 50%, which is nice. But overall, while dust works for Bullseye bosses, I wouldn't consider her the best option, and I have seen some pretty nasty solos with champions like Domino, which is probably what we should be doing here anyways, but well, if it works, there is no need to fix it. As for the results, we did end up winning this war 23-7, so while my death didn't exactly make a difference for this war, it was still very frustrating and even embarrassing considering how badly I actually did in the fight. But these things happen, and like I said, I didn't know about the exact interaction since Sunspot had been banned most of the season so far. We didn't really have much experience using him.